Well, we are here. The weather is crazy. It continues to be nuts. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but it's another Sunday. Luckily, no big issue. Everybody's playing, so there's a plus. The one thing that you're looking forward to. It is snowing. Here, there, everywhere. Including Chiefs in Denver going to be clearly the ones involved in that mostly. That will be an interesting part of the day. I'm curious to see how that works out. I don't think it will affect too much. Honestly, you're probably getting a slight downgrade at quarterback, but outside of that, everybody, yeah, I think the running backs actually get a boost on that. Kelsey's still going to be the guy that you're looking at. Doubt it changes a whole lot outside of that. Any other big names out right now? I know it's going to be Ford is allegedly playing, so that's going to move him up a bit. Yeah, but again, Jordan had a flu game. Mahomes can have a flu game. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, again, he has Kelsey, he has Pacheco, he has Rice. Hardman's back, so that should also help. It'll be very interesting to see how it works out. So, just kind of curious to see how it all ends up going with just the weather because it's not great. It's very cold. Had a slow start to the day. He does have the flu. Yeah, it's ugly. But great players will play through that, not having any issues. So it's hard to really just get too worried about it. I'm actually more frustrated with. Yeah, see, players play, man. It's just how it goes. Looks like Walker is good to go. I haven't seen anything updated on that. That's kind of a bigger surprise to me. But Ferguson versus Schultz, PPR. Okay. It's gonna be Ferguson for me. I don't like Schultz what has been propping up Schultz is a lack of Dell. With Dell returning, I'm a little more nervous, but now Woods is out. So if that's the case, Schultz will be a better play, but I have to see that happen first. There's been a correlation with Dell being out that Schultz got the boost. Now I'll be curious to see if that also will help him with Woods being out, if that still stays the same or not. So I'd much rather go with the guy I know. Ferguson will at least get the targets in the end zone. Schultz, who knows at this point, especially with the fact that it's actually a good matchup for Pierce. So kind of has me more leaning that way. Paul, welcome in. Happy Sunday. Higgins or Brown? Then with the snow pickup in the other. Yeah, I'd go with somebody else outside of Butker. I'm probably going to go with, if you can find him, Group is the one I have picked up and been playing. But for Higgins and Brown, if it's PPR, it's probably going to be Higgins. Anything less, I'm going to go Brown. He's still leading the league in air yards. Granted, the targets aren't great, which sucks, unfortunately, but it's just how it goes. So leaning Higgins there. We'll see if that actually becomes anything. Bud, need a win today. Who should I start? Take a chance on Burrow. Man, with everything going on, I'm scared. Burrow's finally healthy. Unfortunately, it's one of the worst weeks for that to happen because he is playing the 49ers. Makes me a little nervous. I'd go safe with Stroud. I actually think that game actually has a big shootout potential as compared to the Burrow deal. I think that the 49ers are a little upset, so the defense is going to step up. They don't like how they got kind of shamed the past 2 weeks, and so I would expect a big game from the 49ers defense. So I'm going Stroud there. I think it's just a safer play. Pockets, welcome. What are we doing with Calvin Ridley? No, I'm not trusting him. I'd much rather play Warren, especially in the weather. It makes me even more worried about him. I don't like the idea of him having a wet ball. He already has struggled. It's a great matchup, but the idea of actually trusting him to put up solid points, if it's any kind of PPR, I much prefer Warren. Outside of that, if you're looking on the waiver wire, I'm trying to think of who would be a good option that I like. At this point, surprisingly, I think I'd actually go Gallup if he is out there. That's one of my sleepers for today. Is I really like Gallup as a potential option. It's going to be close between him and Cooks. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but Gallup has been seeing like 10 targets the past couple of games. And so makes you want to play it for sure. Royce, welcome in. Kirk Cousins bling or Trevor Lawrence's shampoo. It's Cousins. Love the bling. I wish I had that hair, but I'm going with Cousins for sure. My only worry is they don't have to do a whole lot to win this game. So I'm really nervous that they get up and then they're able to use surprisingly Akers. I think that Madison's going to start off the game and then they're going to get up and they're going to use Akers to see what he got to make sure that it's a good investment because the Vikings like to do that and just mess with people's head. Nibs, welcome. Think you may have got my name and players mixed up in the chat. It's all good. I've done that. Need a flex. Edwards, Johnson, Moss, Warren, Dell, Mercado. It's going to be Dell for sure. And then I'm assuming if that's Amari Cooper, that's the other option. I like Johnson this week since he should be back in the leading that backfield. But yeah, Godson accepted Christ today, so was completely out this morning for that whole portion. So sorry if I missed a lot of questions. It's been a crazy day already, and the weather's just been horrible. So Gonzalez, welcome. Which tight end? Conklin, McBride, Musgrave. It's full PPR. It's hard to get away from McBride, man. With Ertz out, I know that Swaim got some looks, but the volume's still going to be there. I like Thomas, but he's been very consistent. I really like McBride, and I've been on it for a couple weeks now, just seeing the trend go up. Jeremy, welcome. Laporta or Najee? It's PPR, so I'm going Laporta. Tired to get away from any kind of pass catcher. Harris is not that person. He does not catch passes. That's really a Warren thing. I think he's seen like 6 this year, which woof, don't like that at all. But I will double check on that too. I'm going to go Laporta. What about Deontay Johnson or Downs? It's going to be Downs, especially because of the fact that we don't know how Johnson is. That re-injury, he says he's fine, but the re-injury really makes me nervous. And it's a hamstring, which I absolutely hate. And Downs has been, like I said, when Minshew's there, Downs got a huge boost. I would be very surprised if he doesn't hit double digits. He's done it every time he's been out with the Minshew. It doesn't matter the matchup. And I would expect this to be more of the same. M. Gonzalez. Let's see. Which wide receiver? Waddle, Downs, Dell, or Johnson? This is where I struggle because it's really close between Dell and Downs for me. I like the consistency. Waddle's been dealing with injury. Don't love the game. So of those two, I'm probably actually going to go Downs because, again, there's more upside in the Dell because I do think that's going to be more of a shootout. I think Downs is a safer play, and Dell is coming off of injury. So David Schmidt, welcome. Deontay Johnson or Amari Cooper? It's Cooper. Again, worried about that hamstring. I can't bring myself to play a player that has been dealing with that kind of an injury. Hasn't been great. I can't bring myself to do it. Tomorrow, welcome in. Got Mahomes in a crazy trade offer for Dak, but now I'm not sure if I can trust it. My backup is Stroud. So wait, you got Mahomes? You just got Mahomes and you traded Dak? I really like Dak off of the bye. Every time he's played, he's been over, I think it was 23 fantasy points. So it's a really solid play if that's your option. Otherwise, I'd much rather play Stroud. Again, I think there's a lot of upside. It's not a difficult matchup for him. So I'd absolutely love Stroud this week, Tamara. Joseph, welcome. Ridley, Garrett Wilson, Addison, Pickens, pick 2. Wilson, and oh man, so close. I think I'm going to go Pickens because, again, I think that game's more competitive. Steelers somehow are winning games. Every year they do this to me, and I have no idea how they continue to do it, but it's surprising. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to go Wilson and Pickens, Joseph. Okay. Yeah, good for you. That's definitely a good trade. And so I'd play Stroud this week. Again, matchup is great, but the Chiefs won't have to do a lot to beat the Broncos. And more often than not, that especially in this weather, not super. Rodney, welcome in. Hill or Ingram? Hard to get away from Ingram. It's half, which makes me kind of want to lean Hill, but Jawan Johnson is back. I kind of want to see how this works out. I do think Hill has the option, but Ingram's just been so consistent, and with Johnson back, I think I'm a little more nervous on Hill. T-Jazz, Zay Flowers, even if Jerome Ford plays. That's fine. It's PPR, so Flowers is definitely a safe play. Again, I really love the matchup for Ford. If he goes, I'd play Ford. I think that Hunt is my only issue. Again, in this game, Browns could get up and easily win. So that's part of the reason I like Ford so much is he's able to run away with it, and they can salt away by using the run game. Also, why I liked Hunt. So it's hard to get away from him. Polo, welcome in. Kicker's Carlson. Should I grab his backup in case? I just completely get away from it. If you're, looking at a backup kicker, it's probably fine. But so let me see. I'll pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure good options out there right now include Kaimi Fairbairn, Blake Group, Aubrey if he's still available, Moody if he's still available. All those are pretty good options for you. But Fairbairn just had a bye. Is currently the eighth kicker on the year right now. He's averaging over 8 fantasy points a game. So kind of where I lean, but completely understand if you want to try and pick up. Let's see. I'm assuming you're talking about Daniel Carlson, but which would be the Raiders kicker. Who actually knows? So I'd much rather go with one of those options. Let me know who's available, and we can kind of go through it. Start safe. No, yeah. Also have Evan Ingram also like that. No, I'd still play Ford. Just because, again, I think that's an easy game for him. Man, I was so pumped for him last week, and then he got hurt, and then he was going to have even a bigger game. Clearly, his Hunt came in. Really annoying. Chuckleman, welcome in. Derrick Henry, Flowers are born. PPR is going to be Flowers. Anything else, I'm probably going to go Henry. My worry again is the fact that they're using 2 backup quarterbacks. Going to allow the Falcons to stack the box, which is absolutely terrifying. So yeah, it's the Falcons. Own Lions E, but Jets and Saints are available. Keep the Lions. Are you talking about long term? I mean, they're fine. They're a good option this week, I guess. But Badgen has been playing really well. If you're looking at just this week, I'd much prefer the Jets. They're a good defense versus Tyrod, who's actually been moving the ball pretty well, but is still fumble proof or fumble not reliant. He does fumble the ball. He does get himself in trouble, and with Sauce likely playing, it's going to be a tougher matchup for him. So also the Jets and Giants. It's going to be a lower scoring game. It's a lot safer. Joseph, let's see. Ride with Deontay Foreman after last week? No, I'd play Pickens. The reason I'm getting away from Dante is because of the fact that Johnson's likely playing. They have kind of shown that they will probably split it, but it's going to be Johnson who gets preference. When Johnson and Herbert were both active, Foreman was actually a healthy scratch. So it's hard to really trust that. Makes me super nervous for him. Much rather go with the guy I know, but Pickens. I know the answer here, but not the matchup. Ugh. Yeah, I'm probably going to go Harris. I know I really should just trust Aaron Jones to be healthy, but after all this nonsense that he's been putting up, I can't bring myself to do it. So Packers play the Vikings and Steelers play Jaguars. Don't think it's that big of a difference. I'd much rather go with the guy I know is going to touch the ball more and actually play the whole game, and that's going to be Najee Harris, of course, unless an injury pops up. But Jones still hasn't played in a majority of snaps. It's super annoying, and until they get to that point, it's hard to play Aaron Jones. So, Juan, welcome. PPR, pick one. Marquise Brown, Dobbs, Henderson, Metcalf. I'm probably going to go Brown again. He's just seeing so many targets. It's hard to get away from him. Metcalf coming back from injury should be fine, but also don't love the game script for him. So I'm going to go with Brown. so can't drop Dobbs. Fairbairn or Sanders for kicker. I think this game's going to be closer than people expect. I think it's going to be higher scoring, so I'm going to go Fairbairn. And he's been playing very well. So, trade question. Full PPR, I have Kamara, Gibbs, Palmer. I was offered to trade these guys for Lamb, Bijan, and Harris. Kamara, Gibbs, Palmer. You get Lamb, Bijan. I'm assuming that's Najee. So that kind of hurts your running backs to full PPR, but you get a slight upgrade. You do get the better players, so it depends on what other running backs you have. This is a good trade. You're upgrading your wide receiver. Lamb will be better down the stretch. Bijan is still the workhorse. And then Gibbs will, again, have issues once Monty returns. So I'm fine getting rid of that. Palmer is going to be a consistent wide receiver 2-3, but doesn't have the upside that Lamb does. And then Kamara is an RB1 in PPR at this point with how many targets he's seeing every game. So you're really just losing Kamara, but you're getting Bijan. So I'm fine making that trade, but it really is dependent on who your other running backs are. Hammonegger, welcome in. Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman, Aaron Jones. It's going to be Ford. Again, if he's healthy, you have to play him. Outside of that, I'm actually going to go Foreman next and then Jones. I'm terrified of Jones. I've keep trying to play him. It hasn't been working. Not going to trust myself to pick him up and run him. So Z Hetrick. Nice. Sutton, Dell, or Roshan standard flex play. Golly. Really wish it was PPR. I'm probably going to still lean Dell. Sutton is close because he has been catching touchdowns, but it's really tough to trust in that. It's not as predictable. And in a game where it's snowing a lot, a little more nervous on it, but he has been very consistent for you the past few weeks. I'd rather just roll out Dell and hope that the volume gets him into the end zone. T-Jazz. Start Addison over Flowers. Already starting. Yeah. Let's see. That's tough. I mean, really depends on what you're looking for. Flowers is going to be more consistent. Again, I'm nervous that they end up salting away the game. Addison has that big playability, so I'd much rather go with that because, big plays help. But Jackson has been really solid with Flowers lately. So I'm probably going to go Addison because, there's more upside. Bill D, welcome. I already have Lamb, Chase, and Ayuk in the lineup. Also have Moore and Pittman. I don't know. I'm a little nervous with Chase, but it's hard to sit him, and I'm super nervous about Ayuk, even though Purdy is likely playing. I would much rather switch in DJ Moore, play it safe. Not surprisingly, Chargers are not good at the cornerback position right now. So DJ Moore should be fine with his target percentage, and I much prefer him over Ayuk, who, again, with the fact that Purdy is coming from concussion, once he got the concussion, that's when he threw his picks. So I'm terrified of actually playing him. He should be fine, but I would have guessed that they have a more conservative game plan this week. So I'd much rather go with DJ. All right, Polo, let's see. Start 3. Cooper, Puka, Higgins, Collins, Garrett, Wilson. Love all these plays, honestly. But you can't sit Puka at this point. I'm also then going to go Wilson and finally Collins. Love Higgins this week, but again, want to see it, want to make sure that team's healthy. That's part of the reason I'm scared of Chase, is I think that the 49ers are going to try to take him away, and with the shorter targets, it's probably going to be Higgins, but who actually knows, because they continue to switch how they're playing them both. That's either great, Olave or Mixon. It's going to be Olave. More upside, great matchup, and he continues to see enough targets. I know it hasn't been great targets, but at some point it's going to break, and it's going to be a big game. Also hate Mixon's matchup. Also, would he start Roshan Johnson over Aaron Jones? Yes. The fact that he is back, I'm definitely going to play Roshan. Jones, they still say are going to be limited based on health. And again, at this point, you're already 4 weeks in. Just sit him. You should have put him on IR, let him rest, let him get healthy, but oh well. Chuckleman, Henderson, or Aaron Jones? Ew. That's closer. I'm still probably going to go Henderson. That's how low I have Jones at this point. Pick 2, Gus Edwards, Pickens, or Wilson. It's half PPR. I want the guys who can have the big plays, and that's going to be Pickens and Wilson. So hopefully that helps, Damien. Andrew, who do you sit between Foreman, Dell, or Mixon? Oh my gosh. I'm probably going to sit Foreman because of the fact that Johnson's coming in. It Mixon still gets all the work. Dell is going to be just fine since he's back and healthy. And then Superflex, Carr or Minshew. This is more dependent on what you need. Carr is going to be much safer, but Minshew is more likely going to throw for over 300 yards again. They continue to do it. He has had a lot of success. I know it's a tough matchup. So I think Carr is the much safer play. I actually have them both like right next to each other. But again, it's because if Minshew could just stop turning over the ball, he'd be great. Royce, I know you just said, but I have Ridley or Higgins. That's a good question. I still think there's more upside with Higgins, especially with the weather aspect of the game. So I'd much rather go Higgins this week. Also, every time he's outscored Ridley every week that Ridley hasn't scored a touchdown. So PPR, Foreman or Roschon. Okay, PPR, it's Johnson, and Bourne or Dobbs. Bourne. Again, I'm terrified of Green Bay. They don't know what they're doing on their offense right now. I can't bring myself to trust a Packer that's not named Watson or Jones. But again, Jones, I'm still waiting for him to be healthy to trust him. So, Jose, welcome in. Brees Hall or Jonathan Taylor? That's closer. I'm still probably going to go Hall here. It's a Giants run D. He's been pretty solid all year. I'm not too worried about it. I think Hall will be your more consistent play. Taylor is back though. He is seeing a lot of good options. Here's a good one I messed up almost every week. I'm sure it's hard not to. It's a wide receiver, 2 wide receiver, and have AJ. Yeah. It's just so hard to sit Puka in PPR. I absolutely love Moore. Again, I think it's a good matchup. Chargers really suck in their secondary outside of Derwin James. Their run defense has gotten better, but they're still a 31st ranked defense. So I completely agree. It's going to be tough. I'd still play Puka just because he continues to see more targets. If he, again, was the only option there, it'd be much better, but I understand the issue there. Hammenegger, Wilson or Johnson? It's Wilson. Not messing with it. Again, Deontay, the re-injury made me nervous. Can't bring myself to trust it. So I'd much rather roll out Wilson for sure. And again, easy matchup. So hopefully that helps. Luke Gradaville, welcome. Down, Sutton, Watson. Oh, man. It's probably going to be Downs and Sutton. Again, I know that Watson has been playing well up until last week, where the entire team just seemed to have completely forgotten what they're supposed to be doing. With that in mind, it makes it a little tougher. So I'm going to go Downs and Sutton there. Chuck LeMaine, Flowers, Addison, Ayuk, Palmer, Bourne. It's probably going to be Addison and Flowers. Nervous about Ayuk. I'm sure he'll be fine. Probably has a big game, but the fact that Purdy was struggling last week, I could see them trying to use short area targets like, just running with CMC and Mitchell. So Palmer having an injury also makes me nervous. Bourne with Juju coming back, I think his target share goes down a little bit. So I'm going to go with the guys I know have consistent roles in Flowers and Addison. Rodney, pick 2. All right. Wilson and Addison again. Man, once Murray. So again, I'm sure they're going to say Kyler which will certainly help Hollywood after the bye. So I'm going to wait for that at this point. Dobbs off target on Hollywood has just been insane. So I can't bring myself to trust that in any kind of gameplay. Full PPR, Roschon or Henderson? It's still going to be Roschon. That split is ugly. I would expect them to give the full workload back to Roschon now that he's back and healthy, thankfully. Absolutely terrifying, but just how it goes. So hopefully that helps. All right. Ooh, one from Discord. Higgins, McLaurin, Pittman, Downs, Sutton, sit 2. It's probably going to be Pittman and God, just toss up between Higgins and Sutton. I'm probably going to sit Higgins just because I hate the matchup. So I'm going to sit Higgins and Pittman. I'm sure that absolutely just drives Neil nuts. All right. Time to make some adjustments to my rankings. Gotta drop him. Okay. So you're playing Pittman either way. I don't even know why you asked. I need to move Johnson up too. Shocker. Derek Carr, Jordan Love. It's Carr, man. That Green Bay offense is in shambles right now. Makes me way too nervous to even think about trying to roll them out. So good luck to you, but I can't. Aaron, welcome. Higgins, Downs, Dell. Is this thinking too hard? Probably. It's hard that now that all these players are showing up. Again, I'm going with the game that I think it's so close with Downs and Dell, honestly. Higgins is out of it just because I'm nervous for this game. I think 49ers have something to prove. So I'd much rather go Downs. That big play is still there. Dell is, it's going to be close between those two. I think, let me see. I have them currently ranked. 24 and 27. Downs is slightly ahead. So I'm going to go Downs. Kyle, Aaron Jones, or Joe Mixon? It's Mixon. I'm going with the guy who gets the full workload, even if it sucks. Really hoping he catches some passes too to boost those numbers. But until Jones is healthy, I see you're a Packer fan. You know how that offense has been working. You got to stay away from it at this point. Dell, Palmer, Judy, or Henderson? It's Dell. Love Palmer. I wish he was healthy. Him being on the injury report the past 3 days makes me super nervous. So I'm going with the Judy. Also makes me nervous. He has struggled every time they played Kansas City. And Henderson is completely splitting with Royce Freeman, and that terrifies me as well. So I'm going with the guy I know will see targets in Dell. Jerome, pick 2. Ford, Henderson, Warren, and Hubbard. Of those, it's going to be Ford and Hubbard. And then wide receivers, Pittman, Ayuk, Downs. It's probably going Downs and Ayuk. Completely fine playing Pittman. He's probably a safe play, but again, it's the Saints. They're usually decent. While Ayuk just has so much upside, it's hard to get away from him. So, Shuckleman, Watson, Ayuk, or Dell. Dell's just so safe. That's my whole issue, is that I know he's going to see 8 to 10 targets. He's going to catch 60 to 70% of them, and put up 60 plus yards more than likely. So you're seeing 12 points. Ayuk's ceiling is significantly higher, but the floor is also very low. He could get you, a 6, he could get you 32. It's just, I'd much rather go with the guy I know in Dell and trust it. Josh, PPR RB2. Uh-oh. Pierce. Oh. Foreman, DeMarcado, and Freeman. Go Pierce here. You're really just hoping somebody scores. Freeman would be the next one, and then Foreman. PPR DeMarcado is probably a good option. I just can't. I'd much rather go with the guy I know is going to see a majority of the work in Pierce. Pardon. Skylar, welcome in. Pick one. Pickens in the rain, Higgins, or Downs. It's half. I'd love to chase Pickens there because he is the upside play with the half point. But it's hard to get away from Downs. Uh, how about Brian Robinson, Komet, or DJ? Oh my gosh, I don't like this at all. It's a half, so I'm probably going to go Shark here. Komet with I want to say Bajan, but I know that's not it. The new quarterback for the Bears at this point, they aren't on the same page. So and Brian Robinson has a not an ideal matchup. So yeah, okay, it is Bajan. Oh, why am I? So Tyson, yeah, him and Komet haven't really been seeing eye to eye. Him, Moody, and Moore are fine. Mooney's another good streamer if you're looking in deep leagues. But of them, I'm probably gonna go Shark just because of the fact that. Oh wow, we're already 30 minutes out. Yeah. Nico Collins or Jordan Addison half. Golly, they're so close. Currently have, let's see. Collins is 17 and Addison is 16. Literally have them back to back. So I have Addison a slight step ahead. Mostly because his real target share split with Hawkinson, Osborne, and Osborne isn't really. I mean, he's seeing okay targets, but they're very few and far between. And the other surprising name is Powell. So, which Simo, welcome. Pick 2. Mixon, Stevenson, Henderson. It's going to be Mixon and Stevenson. Golly, that Henderson Royce Freeman split is just too terrifying for me. And Dolphins have been so against the run. So Stevenson's probably okay. Hopefully he catches more passes. That's really what's helping him. So he needs to do that more. I mean, you're flipping a coin here. I'm probably going to go Waller, just because weather's a little better. Again, Ingram's in the rain, which it should be fine. Not too worried about it. He'll probably still see a decent amount, but his upside is much more limited because of Kirk. And Tyson Etienne, both kind of the ones who are seeing a majority of the usage. So Francisco, hey, welcome in. Bourne or Quentin Johnson or Beckham. It's not that bad. Bourne's been very consistent. I would love to say Quentin, but again, until we know Palmer's out, even then it's too risky. And OBJ hasn't been what he's supposed to be. So I'd much rather go with a guy I know who has been seeing a lot of targets in Bourne. And just hope Juju isn't going to destroy him. Sean, welcome. Aaron Jones or Alexander Madison is Madison. Packers are not good. I wish they would give Jones more run, but they aren't. He's clearly still not healthy. So until that happens and he logs full practices all week at this point is what I'm waiting to see. Once that happens, I'm willing to fire him up. But been bitten too many times by Aaron Jones just not playing like he should. Welcome in, Nightmare. All right. Addison or Cooper? It's half. I'm going Addison. Cooper sees a lot of targets, but again, that big play is all Addison. That's his bread and butter at this point. Really just breaking those one. I mean, he stole that ball from Warner last week. Former Johnson. Oh my God, it's PPR. This is the harder question. I'm probably going to go Johnson just because it is PPR. And I do think that Roshan ends up taking that backfield back. Foreman, you're really hoping files into the end zone. I mean, you're kind of hoping that with Johnson as well. But I'm going to roll out Johnson since it's PPR. Nick, welcome. Pittman or Metcalf? Pittman. Metcalf been dealing with the injury. Don't love the matchup for him. Starting McLaurin and Adams. Yeah, I mean, those are both consistent. My Dean? Den, probably. Full PPR. Madison, Brian Robinson, or Warren. It's so close. It's probably going to be Madison just because you should see more of the work. Akers started again to eat into it, but I think that was more due to the game script and then being up. If you're worried about it, go Warren. He's been very consistent with seeing targets. So that's the plus. I'm staying away from Brian this week. He really needs to get to the end zone to have any value. Just absolutely hate the matchup for him. So that's my order. It'd be Madison, Warren, and then Robinson. So hopefully that helps. Josh, welcome. Higgins or Stevens? Full PPR. It's going to be Higgins, more upside. Dolphins are fine, but Stevenson's also been splitting with Zeke. They've continued to add him more and more in. Makes me more nervous about it. So I'd much rather go with the upside of Higgins. Half PPR nightmare. All right. It's still going to be Mixon. Going with the workload. Hate the matchup. Ooh, that makes it closer. No, I still think I'm going to go with Mixon. Again, Johnson back makes me nervous for Foreman. Moss is just getting off the injury report. Makes me terrified. So I'd much rather just roll out Mixon and hope that he gets some pass catching work. Xavier, welcome. Devontae Smith or Nico Collins? It's going to be Collins. Yeah, exactly. So at this point, it's too big of a flip of the coin for me. I'd wait for him to have a big game and try to trade him to somebody else who wants him. Probably with another piece. I think we have 3 weeks after this week that he can be traded. So that would be how I would go. I'd go Collins, especially in non-PPR. So hopefully that helps, Xavier. Well, while we have a second, just standard Gus or Madison. Ooh, it's Madison. I understand. Edwards is probably going to be fine. That split's ugly. But Madison's in the same boat. It's really who you think gets a touchdown, and honestly, it could be either of them at this point. They both are seeing just about the same amount. Here are the Ravens play. Cardinals. Oh, man. I just wish I didn't have the bias against the Ravens so bad and that running back room. I guess so. Just change my mind. I'm going to go Gus. I think Gus, in standard especially, he's more likely to score. Anthony Westbrook, welcome. Mixon or Hopkins? It's going to be Mixon. Hopkins missed most of the week with injury, so I'm sure he's going to play. He's been a solid player. Just don't. It's ugly. So Nibs, welcome. Laporta, Sutton, Watson, or Dell. Ooh, these are all really good. I'm probably still going to go Dell here. Close. If Sutton wasn't playing in the snow, he'd probably be up there, but it's hard to get away from Dell. Laporta also. I mean, these are all really good options. I'm still waiting for Green Bay to figure it out. So that's part of why I'm away from Watson as much. Daniel, Ford or Madison? It's Ford. If he's healthy, it's too hard to sit him at this point. I mean, the opportunities are going to be so good for him if he can stay healthy through the entirety of the game. Again, they're in the same boat. I'm more worried about them having to salt away time and using the other running back. So I expect a big workload for Hunt and Akers this week as well, likely taking over second half of games. Thanks. Would he play as a flex, Smith over Ford or Hunt? No, I'd much rather play either of them. Yeah, I absolutely, like I said, the Browns running back this week, I love it. I think they have great opportunity, and it's just so tough to get away from them because it's such a good matchup. I wish we knew for sure that, honestly, Hunt's been dealing with injury. I wish he would just be out, and I wish Ford was healthy, but they can't do that. So Higgins or Stevenson flex, full PPR. It's Higgins, more upside. And the fact that Stevenson continues to split with Zeke makes me nervous. Really, Burrow's ranked in the top 12 for mostly everybody. I have him barely up there. And that's, well, I guess I need to drop down Mahomes a little bit too now. Mostly because of the fact that everybody's playing. So I have a lot of people higher than everybody else. And so that also continues to be another issue. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out too. All right. Dicker or Fairbairn? Fairbairn. I think that game's higher scoring. So, and, you know, who actually knows what's going through good old Staley's head? That dude named Billy. Nice. Also love the design there. Pick 3 to start. Full PPR: Ridley, Waddle, London, McLaurin. It's going to be London, McLaurin for sure. Then I guess I have to go Waddle. I mean, again, I don't trust Ridley, and I know that Waddle's been iffy, but he's still very talented. So if you can get away with it, go with it. So definitely the back half. Sean, Pittman or Kirk? Oh my gosh, it's going to be Kirk. Seeing too many targets to get away from him. Pittman has been very solid as well, but again, it's just, I mean, I trust Kirk more at this point. He's been so consistent. 20 minutes. Wow, we're coming in hot. Who's better rest of the season, Dak or Lawrence? Until I see an improvement, I'm going to lean Dak. They continue to struggle against good teams, but Dak has a nice matchup rest of the season. It's gross. I wish Trevor was playing better, but he isn't, and until that happens, it's very difficult to get away from it. So, Austin, welcome. Pick 2, Nico, Addison, Daryl. Picking the wide receivers, Nico and Addison. That Henderson split still has me nervous. He literally him and Royce Freeman the exact same. The only thing that was different was the fact that he got in the end zone. So if that's the drive that you're hoping for, great. But I'd much rather go with the guys I know who can very easily score. Oh my gosh, throw a defensive start out there. It's probably the Lions. I mean, both these games make me a little nervous because they could very easily be shootouts. Looking like, I mean, Saints have been very consistent when it comes to scoring in fantasy, but let's see. They're currently ranked 4th. Their lowest week was last week, or was 4 weeks ago, where they got a 3. Meanwhile, the Lions have just been okay. They are currently at 16th. So, also it's the same. It's Minshew. So you're going up against Minshew. I'm probably going to play a Saints. He almost every week either fumbles or throws an interception. So just play the Saints. They'll get something from it. Standard. Oh, Palmer, Hollywood, or Cooper. Golly, that's close. It's probably going to be Brown just because, again, leading everybody in air yards. So it's close with Cooper because of the fact that all the targets are there. I love Palmer, but dealing with injury, matchup is great. But it's going to be Brown for me. That the air yards there makes it a boost, especially in standard where all that matters is yards and touchdowns. So Joey C, play Mahomes with Fluid or Stroud? It's going to be Stroud. Again, shootout potential in this game. Better weather. Fact that he isn't sick. I have him very close. Even with that, it's just, yeah. Daniel, welcome back. Another question, huh? Pickens, Johnson. So you have both Steelers wide receivers, London, Lockett, Ridley, and Madison. Wide receiver, you have Puka and AJ currently going. Man, it's close. I'm probably going to go Pickens, but it's close with London. I think London's a really safe play this week. But don't think you go wrong between those two. Everybody else is kind of up in the air. DJ Smooth. Wow, wow, wow. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Most are Addison. It's going to be Addison, and then Stroud versus Herbert. Again, it's Stroud. I know it's Herbert versus the Bears, but he still doesn't look right. That finger continues to bother him. That offense looks very frustrating. Watched a lot of their games because Chargers fan, and love the pain that I get watching them. It clearly a sadist. It just makes me absolutely terrified to watch Herbert play in the Chargers. It's love to get hurt, lose the most single score games. Mascus, thank you. It's one of the two. So, as the rest of the Chargers fans also are. So, Yeah. 15 minutes. Creeping up there. Join late. Welcome. Like Cousins or Stroud. I like them both. But I'm going to go Stroud. I think there's more upside there. I have him currently as my quarterback 6 with Cousins coming in at 11. So it's definitely a more interesting week. So I'm definitely going to roll out Stroud there. I am continuing to make adjustments to my rankings. Need to drop Walker a little bit, but yeah, it's rough out there. With the rain in Pittsburgh, just still pick over Olave. PPR probably, but Olave also has a really good matchup. This is really a coin flip. Let me see. I feel like I have these two back to back because these are two players that I have been almost. So let's see. I have him at 26. It's going to be Olave. Because I currently have Pickens at 19. So 9 spot difference. Is Jerome Ford playing? It looks like it. If he doesn't, I would play Demario Douglas. He, I think, has really carved a role out for himself. I know that Juju is coming back, so I'm kind of curious to wait and see on that. But Juju hasn't looked very good this year. Bourne and Demario both have, and the fact that Demario is newer to the team, I think that Bill will want to see what he has, especially with how well he's played. Pickens or Najee, it's going to be Pickens. More upside, man. Potential to score, big playability, those toe touches. You're with Harris at this point, you're kind of just hoping he scores. Pickens is more likely to score. Daniel Smith, welcome. Mixon or Stevenson? It's going to be Mixon. Love Stevenson matchup, but Mixon has the full job. I hate the matchup for him. I'm really just hoping he catches 6 targets. If he can get 6 receptions, he'll have a solid day. I'm expecting him to get close to 60 yards. So, yeah, I would be too. That's really a toss-up because I have, let's see, Collins is somewhere in here. I have Collins at 17 and Olave at 10. So, really don't think you go wrong. They're both going to be wide receiver ones. I think Olave has more upside, but at the same point, it's the fact that Carr is throwing the ball and doesn't know what he's doing at times. It is extremely frustrating. They've been so close, but just a little bit off on targets. Would you play Warren or Moss or Dillon over Aaron Jones? Yes. No, that's not fair. I would play Warren for sure in any kind of PPR. More nervous on Moss. He's been kind of relegated, and I would definitely play Dillon over him because at this point with the snap share, Dillon has been out snapping him. And until Jones is healthy, I can't. Half PPR, Pittman, Deontay Rice. It's Pittman. I like Rice. Love the opportunity. He's finally starting to see more consistent targets, but I just can't bring myself to trust in it at this point. No kind of consistency there. So, would you go Javonte over Sutton? Depends. In standard, probably. Williams has seemingly gotten back to being the lead back, but also really depends on if they are going to run it. I think there is in standard, I would trust him more. Sutton has really been lucky with scoring touchdowns. So if it's PPR though, or even half, I'm still probably going to go Sutton over Javonte. So hopefully that helps. Really depends on what you're. Hey, good to see you, Anthony. Sandercorn, choose 2 of 3. Sanders, Henderson, and Foreman. Ooh. Golly. I'm going to go with the ones I know that are splitting and probably go Sanderson and Henderson. Sanders and Henderson. Golly. With Johnson back, I don't know how much they're going to use Foreman, and I'm kind of curious to see that split before I continue to roll him out. because they like splitting it. I would guess that Johnson's going to be the one who sees 70% of the touches. Makes me more nervous. Yep, that's normally how that goes. He will have 10 carries for 2 touchdowns because also, why not? Full PPR, Tank Dell, Deontay Foreman, Johnson, and Flex. Okay, it's going to be Dell. It's PPR, and he's back. So I'm fine rolling him out there. The mix between the two. If you need another one, it's probably going to be Johnson after that. Do think that he gets the workload back. So Trent Williams will be true game time decision. Hobbled Tyler Lockett to Kirk Reynolds. Still going to roll out Lockett, JD. Yeah. Even if he is hobbled, they like to use him. He's not seeing great targets, but he continues to put up decent numbers. Reynolds with Gibbs back, who actually knows and doesn't really catch targets. So J-Lep, 420. Nico or Higgins? It's Nico. Not particularly close for me. I have Higgins at... I hate when I have to search. 28. So, all right, Dan, let's see. With how hot he is right now, would he start Downs over any of the following? Over Jones and Ayuk and Mick? Yeah, I'd literally start him over all of them. The one that's closest is Flowers and Ayuk, especially in any kind of PPR. Standard, it gets a little closer, but it's hard to sit down at this point. He's seeing too many targets. Redbeard, welcome. Whoops. Brown or DK? I'm going to go Brown here. More upside. They're going to have to throw. DK hasn't been really showing up. You're really hoping he finds the end zone. And this isn't an ideal situation for him. So Bucks are facing the Browns. I'm worried for any of the pass catchers for the Seahawks. All right, Aaron Jones makes him to Madison. Ooh. It's probably going to be Madison because of the easy matchup. Again, my worry is the fact that they might get away from him because they're winning, and so they want to see what they have in Akers. I currently have Mason projected for 61 scrimmage yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown. So you're at, 15 points? One more, another standing league. Please choose 3. Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, Jacobs, DeMarco. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm going to go Walker, Jacobs. And at that point, I'm probably... Nope, I still can't do it. I'm still going to go DeMarco. Man, I hate Jones. Golly. I've just been bitten too many times, I guess. So, sure enough, as Neil said, 2 touchdowns guaranteed. All right, Daniel Eberhardt, 4 to Williams. 3. Yeah, now it's moving up. It's going to be Ford. More usage. I'm assuming that's Javonte, but the weather... Ford has also been kind of catching passes again. And with Hunt also hurt, I expect this to be kind of a split game. But more upside. You're welcome, everybody, I guess. How about Nico, Downs, or Pickens? Golly. This is where I'm struggling because I have them all so close. Collins 17. Downs at... 26 and Pickens at 19. Oh, that's PPR too. So, actually, I should probably move down. Up. Pickens should be lower than that. Henderson or Hunt? All right, it's going to be Hunt. Again, I just think they get up. So I think that both of them end up scoring. Henderson is really TD dependent. Rubin, Hubbard, Smith, Henderson. Ugh. I'm probably going to roll out Hubbard, but it's hard to get away from Smith. There's a lot of upside there. It's hard to sit him. So it really depends on what you want. I think Smith is clearly the one who stands out the most with the most upside, especially as wow, we're 5 minutes out. insane. Kittle or Laporta? It's going to be Laporta. Everybody should be back this week when it looks at oh no, Debo's still out. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to move into Kittle. So it's going to be Kittle there. Robert Woods is out. Any other official ones out? All right. If you haven't already, make sure you join our Discord. Thank you so much for tuning in. Absolutely love doing this on Sundays with you. Again, sorry about the late start. But join the Discord. What else do we have? We have a show tomorrow for Waiver Wire, show Tuesday for anybody in Guillotine Leagues. Absolutely been kicking that off. Then we're back on Thursday for Roster of the People and Friday for Locked In. We also do have Major League Baseball content that's coming out. We've been doing that. And good luck in week 8, I guess, is where we're at. But if any last questions, Yep. It's the weather always makes things interesting. We'll see how it goes. But that and luck, everybody needs some of it. Hope everybody has a good week 8. We'll get out of here. Till next time. Remember, keep up the nonsense.